Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, we're back with an Empire vs. Beastmen showdown. It's going to be myself with Balthazar Gelt facing off against Anticity, who's going to be using the Brass Bull. And what better way to defeat the Brass Bull than to turn him into metal? Should be quite a bit of fun. So we do have Balthazar Gelt with the final transmutation up in the sky, and I figured that'd be pretty good against Beastmen because they tend to blob up quite a bit. They have these big zerging balls of doom. I was using Volkmar the Grim. He's pretty good here. You can also use Franz. Franz can go fisticuffs as well with Torox, but I wanted someone a little bit more mobile, kind of a hit and move type tactic, because my build did have a lot of kiting elements in it. So we have Pistoliers, which are very good against pretty much every variant of Centaurs, also good against Minotaurs, Jabberslights, Gorgons, because they all have light armor. We do also have double War Wagon, though, which is kind of an innovation based on this patch, because if you don't bring War Wagons, you're not going to have dedicated armor piercing to take out Torox, because Torox himself heavily armored, so you need the long rifles of the War Wagons to be able to bring him down, in my opinion. So the rest of my battle line is going to be Flagellant, Sigmar Sons, double spears in the back, and, cavalry ain't dead, man. We got 4 Knights of the Blazing Sun, and they are incredible against Beastmen. They can fight against Centaurs and do very well against them, especially the non-Great Weapon variant. And fire damage is pertinent in this matchup for a couple of things like Butchers of Kalkengard and all that sort of good stuff. So that's it for my build. Now, for the Kraken King Anticity, it's got a front line of chaff, so it's going to be Ungor Spearmen with a couple of Gore Herds mixed in, a massive amount of Centaurs with throwing axes. In total, it looks like there's going to be 4 of those, skirmishing with my Pistoliers, but Centaur throwing axes in general, whether it be Chaos or Norska or anything really, are very, very good against heavy cavalry. So, for example, if you have Knights of the Blazing Sun, Volkmar, Karl Franz, anything big and armored, if they can sit and throw and the target is sitting still, they can get a ton of DPS in. Top of that, we got Centaurs into the sunset. Let's see. Oh man, I'm getting yawn here. Ooh, it's 2 of those bad boys plus Chaos Warhounds, and on the other side, it was a late night. We got more Centaurs and Poison Hounds, a lot of swarming here from the Kraken King, and one of his Centaurs is actually going to be the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run with Torox, the Brass Bull, and the Wild Shaman in the back with Traderkin. So we both have AoE, pretty much, similar styles, right? Traderkin does a ton of damage, but thankfully I don't have like a Volkmar blob with like Demogryph Knights, because basically Traderkin would do very well against any sort of blob formation. So some light skirmishing right out of the gates here. The Pistoliers shooting into ye old Centaurs with throwing axes, and we do take down quite a few. So the Pistoliers didn't lose any models, and we're able to take out maybe 5 or 6 Centaur models and do some substantial HP damage. That was pretty nice. In the meantime, the flank is getting a little bit spicy here as the Centaurs with Warhounds and other units prepare to engage. I'm taking up refuge here in this defensive position, and the Beastmen are just advancing as the Brass Bull and the Wildcaster do get ready to come in here and deliver some Beastmen fury to my army. 1 unit of Huntsmen as well. I just kind of brought them as a little something to, shoot at some of the ranged threats that the Beastmen do have. And, you can go with like a stationary Huntsman build with like a ton of, wit, for example, and like halberds and state troopers to try and hold. But I still do prefer cavalry. It gives you the means to kind of fight the Beastmen in this situation. So here comes Knights of the Blazing Sun, looking like we want to take a little bit of a fight here. And the Beast Herd is just advancing in super aggressively, while the throwing axes move up to get some good damage here on my War Wagons. Could be pretty substantial. We'll get in here and check. The Brave Sigmarite's going to be taking some axes, and that'll do some big damage. You can see one of the wagons does get beat up here. Now, he has kind of dominated the flank here, so he has a way into my army. And shit's about to get real spicy as the Gore Herds do move in against my Flagellants, who will be getting the countercharge in the last second. Thankfully, I do get that, and the fighting is underway. So the Brass Bull has also engaged here. Knights of the Blazing Sun on the far side engaging, and we will be using the dreaded Final Transmutation now. So I saw him blobbing up a ton of stuff. Centaurs, Gore Herds, all sorts of stuff. So we're going to be nailing that front line. It hits everything, including the Brass Bull, who I would imagine will be using his Brass Body here in a second to try and counter that. I'm not sure. It looks like he doesn't, but that'll give us the win. Knights of the Blazing Sun charging into Ungors here. On the other side, we have Anticity's Cav flank coming in. 1 Knight of the Blazing Sun going to valiantly intercept these 2 units of Centaurs. While the Hounds move in as well, I was like, you know what, let's not let these guys bully us. Let's get those braces of pistols and charge in and see if we can fend off those Hounds. So we do fend them off, and the Pistoliers in these kind of numbers should be able to destroy the Hounds pretty quickly. However, the other side, a little bit disastrous as Traderkin does go down. However, Knights of the Blazing Sun do indeed have magic resist. So I do commit the countercharge to get 1 Knight of the Blazing Sun in there. I'm like, okay, let's fight this. We won the frontline fight. We pulled the bounce power back to the middle, which had actually started in the favor of the Beastmen. So I was like kind of happy about some of the early engagements. Some Centaurs do pile through the middle and get on top of my poor wagons. Here, Balthazar Gelt getting in there on his steed Quicksilver in fighting these various Centaurs, while the Knights of the Blazing Sun, who helped dominate the frontline engagement, now come in for a big flank, and we should be able to just slap up these Beastmen as those beautiful lances are couched. They get into the Centaurs, and hopefully we can drive them off the edge of the battlefield here. Granted, some of our stuff has been driven off as well, so little bit of a double-edged sword there. State Troopers and Flagellants still fighting here. You can see we did dominate the front line with the support of Balthazar Gelt's magic. The Beastmen blob, very scary. Sigmar Sun's doing an okay job kind of fighting, but my Knights are broken up here, and now the Beastmen are starting to push through, as is the Brass Bull. So Balthazar Gelt kind of just saving up Winds of Magic. Anticity and I were in Discord while we were playing this, and we were kind of like, oh man, he's like, when's that final transmutation coming? I'm saving the brass body for it. So he does have the damage mitigation in case I cast another one. And now the Bray Herd is chasing me into the trees here, which is their natural habitat. Some Hounds do get on top of Pistoliers because I was trying to focus down this engagement very heavily and support my Knights of the Blazing Sun. And another Traderkin going down as well. Traderkin there will absolutely melt my forces, and it hits like so much. AoE spells, so both Traderkin and Final Transmutation have, of course, had a, I don't know if it's a bug or it's intentional. We'll find out, I guess, when Creative Assembly patches things. But 21 Knights of the Blazing Sun rushing in to help finish off these Centaurs. Balthazar Gelt coming in as well. Everything counts, getting that rear charge penalty here on the Centaurs while the Pistolier and Wagon fire supports. That's a pretty epic little shot, right? You have like the Knights fighting to defend the Wagon, and the long rifles and the Wagon are shooting to support them. Very, very cool looking. So looking around, let's go ahead and take inventory of both armies. The Beastmen have a very scary blob. Pretty much everything they're running into, they're flattening here, and I am kind of forced to pull back. So the Pistolier is moving, being pursued by Centaurs with throwing axes. And even if they charge in, I think I do have the numbers to potentially countercharge them and get some work in, but they do charge, and I commit one Pistolier to the fight, hoping that the crossfire from the other ones will be enough to help, and Balthazar Gelt even thinking about getting his hands dirty. Now, the big way I could lose this game, I have secured a pretty decent advantage in the balance of power considering it's Beastmen. Any other faction, it would be like up here, is not to lose my Wagons. If I lose the Wagons, I don't really have any way to effectively kill Torox, and he could probably solo the rest of my army. But if I can keep the Wagons alive, get that focus fire on him, I think things will be sitting pretty nicely. So Torox does run in here. I see him kind of bunch up with the Bray Shaman as well as the Knights of the Blazing Sun and some Centaurs. So I was like, this is the opportunity to get that, other final transmutation. It's not going to be overcasted, but we will be hitting everything in this blob. So Torox gets nailed, and in response, Anticity will be using the Brass Body to get 40% ward save, which will save him from dying. That's mitigating almost half the damage. He's taking massive focus fire from the War Wagons as well as the Pistoliers. We got State Troopers and Fanatics of Sigmar fighting the good fight in here. We do also have some more infantry coming in, Sigmar Sons and Spearmen. So still a nice little presence here in this army. And we can't quite get Torox. He squeaks away. Well, I don't know. Torox probably isn't one to squeak, but he gets away. Whatever sound he makes, metal clanging, pots and pans when he moves, that's probably the more accurate kind of representation. Now, I do rush some spears in front of the Centaurs. I saw they were going for the Pistoliers, and those poor Spearmen are just going to get absolutely run over by the Centaurs. And he's coming in pretty aggressive here, so I was a little bit nervous. I felt like I was ahead, but you never know. Torox, even with, just close to 1,000 HP, could potentially be enough. If I run out of ammo, these War Wagons in melee having to deal with Torox is going to be ugly. 34 Flagellants, though, and 11 right here, putting up a good fight. Hopefully able to help deal with some of these Gore Herds. And we do commit to the fight here. Balthazar Gelt, my Pistoliers in combat. They got their cavalry swords drawn, but the Centaurs are getting the better fight. But Sigmarite engineering is renowned across the old world as the Wagons charge in to the back of the Centaurs. That should be enough to potentially break their leadership. We'll see. So the Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run, despite their regeneration, they'll be getting broken down here. And now Torox is coming in for the kill. So we just need to do a little bit more damage to get army losses. So I do turn all my focus fire into Torox. I'm like, bring it down, bring it down. As the Brass Bull moves in, 600 HP. He does get on top of one of the Wagons. I'm hoping the gunpowder will be enough to finish him. Worst case scenario, Balthazar Gelt gets in there. He's got a charge bonus of 70. He's no slouch, but the Wagons do get back, shoot him a couple times, and that is going to be army losses for the Brass Bull as the Sigmarite infantry over there win as well. So GG, that was a really super scrappy game, just back and forth. Both of us really utilizing the AoE, right? So 1,400, value on his caster, and Balthazar Gelt got about 1,600. So that's pretty great performance from the Bray Shaman, pretty much doing as good as Balthazar Gelt did. So yeah, very, very good stuff. Knights of the Blazing Sun took some damage, but 1,100 here, 1,000 here. This one got lost in that early engagement. And so I lost 2 of them, but 2 of them did pretty well. I mean, they were very necessary for defending the back line. The Pistoliers did fine. Wagons were MVPs, of course, 767 and 1,000, give or take. Yeah, overall, I like this army. I think I might go this route. I think having the blob punishment against Beastmen is really nice. Had I gone Volkmar the Grim here, I think Torox would have just bullied him and I would have lost the game. Franz or Todbringer, I think, are very viable, but I'm kind of on the fence about bringing Volkmar now with Torox being such a presence because he really will dominate him. And yeah, Anticity's build is great. We kind of discussed after the game how these Centaurs weren't quite in the right position. Like they were kind of behind the infantry line instead of fighting my cavalry during a lot of those important fights. And yeah, I think that was a big factor. So, all right, that's it for now. Thanks again for joining. Make sure to check out the Kraken King Anticity over on his Discord channel. Not Discord, excuse me, his YouTube channel, which will be linked in the comment section below. He is an amazing player, top tier tournament player. And yeah, he is really, really fun to watch and very insightful as well. All right, that's it. Take care of yourselves and we'll see you next time. Cheers.